Welcome to the Hangin Banners podcast with your hosts, Tyler Witt.
How about this block here by Tyler Witt? You're going to see him get out in front, and he's going to get a key block that springs this play.
Jack Coachman.
And here he is, having the time of his life.
And Ryan Sartori.
Maybe short, but he's thick.
That's thick with two C's at the end.
What's going on, guys? This is the Hangin Banners podcast. I'm Tyler Witt, and this is my punishment episode, so I'm the host. That's Ryan Sartori. That's Jack Coachman. I hope this is right on everyone else's screen. But I'm excited because I made this huge effort to create this whole episode. And let me tell you, we're spinning everything on its head. Are you guys excited?
I know nothing. I know zero details about what is happening in this episode. That's the way I want it. I'm excited for the ride.
As an unofficial keeper of information from this podcast, I do want to point out that was actually the second time that Tyler has introduced the show. The first one, if you remember, was the Halloween episode when he came as Ryan Sartori. So I'm excited that we got already one repeat factoid. But I'm ready.
May I again add, was a shitty fucking costume.
You're a hater.
You should have to do 2 punishment episodes of how bad that costume was.
Well, depending on how this goes, we will see if I deserve another episode. This could go horribly wrong and we can crash and burn. But it's not, because I'm very confident that this is going to be great.
Oh, let's do this. I'm pumped.
One thing about me is that no matter what, if I don't have an emotional interest in the podcast, and Tyler, I want to see you do well. You are my emotional interest, but also in this situation, I want to let chaos reign. The majority of the time in my life, I root for chaos, and may chaos reign today.
There's big potential for chaos to reign today, but I want to start this.
Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. But I want to start this episode by just asking you guys, how has your week been?
Good. Living the dream, man.
Oh, I'm so sick of that. Oh, we talked about that earlier this week. So sorry. I said the only time I ever respond with "living the dream," which is like the most generic, like nails on chalkboard answer to hear from someone. The only time I'd say that is if I'm at work and not having a good time. That's the only time I'm going to reply with "living the dream." So I'm assuming that Sartori's in a bad mood, but my week's been good. Nothing too eventful. Just some rearranging of the closet and stuff. But Tyler, what's been going on in your world?
I've been enjoying my vacation. I got my voice back. That's huge.
Yes. Yeah. Day by day, we get better and better.
Who knew a humidifier would do the trick? Shout out to Nicole for that purchase. But it's been going well. I kind of like this whole not working out thing. It's kind of sweet. But I'm going to have to get back on the gym grind this week. So
I will add to the conversation that I saw the newest installment to the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I did as well. I saw it last night.
Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Or is it just Ant-Man Quantumania?
No, Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania.
And either way, Jack, I am not going to spoil a thing other than a couple of takeaways that I had from this.
Okay.
I won't
keep my headset on. Should I take my headset off?
I won't spoil a thing because there's listeners and I don't want them to tune out. First and foremost, I cannot say that this was my own observation because Nikki leaned over to me during the middle of the show and was like, "Isn't this kind of like Shark Boy and Lava Girl?" And she's not wrong. Okay. So one of the characters that they have in this new Ant-Man movie goes by MODOK. That's been known. Everybody knows that MODOK is coming.
In the trailers, yeah, famous Marvel villain, sure.
MODOK is more or less a different depiction of George Lopez's Mr. Electric.
Mr. Electric, that's what his name was.
From Shark Boy and Lava Girl. And when she leaned over and told me that, I almost had to remove myself from the theater. But also, Paul Rudd's Ant-Man wears a red suit. So too did Lava Boy. In this new movie,
Lava Girl.
Boy? Shock shark lava.
You just made him into one superhero. What's that about?
Fuck it. But at the same time, the daughter of Ant-Man, Cassie, is in this movie as well. She wears a purple suit. There was another character in the Shark Boy and Lava Girl installment that wore a purple suit. There's just so many different parallels. And also, when you go and watch this movie, the first third of it feels like a really shitty Star Wars movie.
That's what I was about to say. I didn't think it was. I liked the movie. I thought it was a great movie overall. But I did feel like it was a Star Wars movie, and it was very weird for a Marvel movie to feel that way.
The Disney convergence is happening. All of its IP will become one.
I did not feel like it was a good movie. I didn't think it was a good movie, but it was a good installment to the MCU, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
like,
I think that could be valuable.
I feel to some extent we have exited the movie making portion of the MCU, and now it is just hour and a half, $130 million like TV episodes almost, where
one
there
big
is
story.
You're expected to know so much. You're expected to be okay with them withholding certain information. I thought that they underutilized the storyline of Kang the Conqueror. I didn't think that they gave us enough backstory on him. And I think that is just me having to be okay with them withholding information for future properties, so future, whether it be TV shows with Loki season 2 coming up later this year, or if it's going to be in Secret Wars or Secret Invasion coming up as well. Like, either way, I didn't think that it was a good movie as a whole, as far as movies go, but especially with some of the crap that they put out over the past 2 years in phase 4, this was a good installment.
I think it's just like trying to tell that they're setting up the new Thanos, right? So they got to try to top Thanos, and it's going to be chaos, and it's going to be, now they have the shows on Disney Plus, and I think Loki season 2 is going to do what you said, like explain his backstory, why he is the way he is, all that jazz. But overall I liked it. Like you said, I think it was a good installation.
I also hate that I sit and watch the Marvel movies with a critical mind. Like, why do I sit there and like, it's supposed to be brain mush anyway, right? Like, it's not supposed to be this hard-hitting cinematic masterpiece. At the end of the day, it's just like comic books come to life. Comic books aren't always the most well put together pieces of literature.
But they that comic books especially are predicated on the respect and continued interest of the readers, right? So this is like the most service-based. Like, somebody puts out a novel, there's no telling necessarily, unless it's part of like a massive franchise of novels, there's no way of telling like if people are going to receive it well. But because comics come out periodically, I think the same thing kind of applies to the movies, where you're watching it critically, but it's because you're watching going, are you keeping me or are you losing me? Right? Because that's the way that the comics work instead of a book. You could just pick a different of a zillion authors, but if you're invested in a character or a like plot arc or whatever, then I think it makes more sense to feel like, not that you're owed anything, but that you kind of wanted to earn your interest over and over again.
Yeah, I mean, in this newest phase that we have, it's like Shang-Chi is like sits on its own little pedestal, and then like Multiverse of Madness and the new Ant-Man movie that we're talking about, Quantumania, kind of like are in this same category. And then there's everything else, in my opinion. Maybe Loki season 1 fits in there. I think WandaVision, if you're talking about TV series too, both kind of fit in that category under Shang-Chi. But everything else fits in like this category of like,
I don't know. I feel
except for Hawkeye sits alone under like 1,000 feet of whale shit.
You didn't like Hawkeye?
I hated Hawkeye.
Ryan the Grinch Sartori.
I also did not like She-Hulk.
That
was just me.
Fair, I think.
But I think that was just some choices, some editorial choices and stuff
This
in
could
there.
be a whole different episode. Jesus.
Yeah, right. This is a Marvel episode.
not related to the punishment, but that was our Marvel talk for the week. Go see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Have your own
Whoa. We're not
opinion.
sponsored. We're not sponsored.
No, I'll go see it. I'll go see it.
Go see it. Leave a comment on our Instagram page what you thought.
Bang.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. If you didn't know, you could follow us at the bottom of the screen. There's a rolling ticker. It says @Hangin Banners on all platforms. Give us a follow. Check us out. We'll post clips and give you a preview of the episode each week. Check us out.
Creating more fucking work for me. What the fuck?
Anyway, we are about 11 minutes into this. I think it's time.
Okay, let's do it.
We're going to start the take debate.
The take debate. Okay.
The take debate.
Just
what I'm
make
calling.
sure I know what the hell I'm debating. Here we go.
We're
Takes.
Here's the intro, okay? Sports all across the world. They have sports reporters that are on TV shows every day. And they just debate mindless topics, giving some of the worst takes ever. An example would be First Take with Shannon Sharp, Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless, historically known for
That's
terrible takes.
what's that show called? I don't even remember. That's not First Take. That's
First
the,
take Stephen A.
Speak
Oh,
for
right.
yourself. Is that no? That's what's that Fox one? Oh, now it's gonna bug me.
Undisputed.
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 Yeah, that's Skip and Shannon.
First
Continue.
Take is another one. Anyway, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, they have all of these debates. Skip Bayless has some of the dumbest, historically bad takes ever. He throws Dak's jersey in the garbage every year like a ritual. So today, what we will be doing is having a good old-fashioned take-off. So this is how this is going to work.
Rest in peace.
I am the judge.
Yeah, right.
You two will be competing against each other. Each person will rotate between being the Skip Bayless of the round. So that means they have to support the opposite side of the take the first person has. As an example,
Okay.
we'll say Ryan is starting. The topic is the sky is blue. Ryan will go into discuss how it is blue, what makes it blue, the science behind it, etc.
Oh God. Oh,
Jack will
God.
have to give an opposite take. This could be that the sky is a different color. It has no color, or there's no sky at all. It's just a figment of our imagination.
Oh.
I want you to be as creative as possible with this. Whichever person has the more convincing argument at the end of the round will be awarded a point.
Ooh. I'm in.
So each of you will get 30 seconds to prepare for each topic. And that can be on any of your devices. If you want to pull up research articles that you may have in mind, pull them up really quickly.
Do you supply the topic?
Yes, I have a bunch of topics that we will go into.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Dude, I want these points so badly. I don't even care about anything else. I'm in on these points already.
So after the 30 seconds to prepare for each topic, each person will have a 1 minute time limit to plead their case. Then after each of you gets a minute, you will each have 30 seconds to rebut before a final decision is made on who gets the point.
Dude, this is like PTI meets Judge Judy. This is whip quick.
I am super excited for this. I have a wide variety of topics, a couple different sports.
Okay.
I did keep it sports related so that our listeners wouldn't be detached from the whole, this is a sports podcast. So, and we talked about our media beforehand. So I'm going to start with a pretty easy one. Then we're going to go into the more complex one as we go along. And whenever we get to an appropriate stopping point, we will.
All right.
Would you guys like to flip for who goes first? Or would you guys like to make a reasonable decision on who goes first?
If there is a person in this world I would least like to debate against, it's Jack Coachman. There is a person that I personally know that I would least like to debate against. It is the man at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, hello.
All right. I have a quarter right here.
Yeah, you could go first. You could go. I defer. I'll defer the kickoff.
I don't want the halftime. I don't want you to have the ball.
All right,
at
fine. I'll go
half.
first. I'll go first. I don't want to flip. No,
All right.
there's no
Sure.
chance in this. This is
All right,
all.
no.
Takesmanship is a
Hey,
skill, not
Mama
a chance.
ain't raised no bitch. I'll go first.
All right.
So I
This
have.
is for the
So you give me the topic.
Mm-hmm.
I will give you the topic. So you go first. So you will plead your case for the topic.
Okay.
So-
What's the topic?
I have to select one.
Oh shit.
So, and I just want to reiterate that even though like some of these are like a little goofy, so if the opposite topic is like, you can just make it funny. Like if you don't have anything, like, you know, you could throw shit out there. Like it doesn't have to be like this scientific thing or like an article, like you don't have to cite sources or anything. Just, you know, give your
Thank God.
explanation. Get creative with it. All right. Okay. So because Ryan's going first, I'm going to do a baseball one. So this is the first topic.
Oh, wait. I thought you said they're all sports related. All right, go ahead. I'm done. I'm ready now.
It becomes even more fitting. So the topic is baseball season is about to start up with spring training. The take is this baseball season will be way more entertaining than the past 10 combined. Ryan, that is your side to defend. Jack will refute that. So you guys will I have a timer going. So take 30 seconds between the two of you, and we will start momentarily.
What are we gonna do to fill the 30 seconds?
Tyler, we could talk. I'm ready. I've never felt like I have such an intimidating presence in any arena until now. This is such a powerful position.
So why would this baseball season be the best of any of the past 10 years? Well,
yes.
I think
wait. Are you starting? If you're gonna just let me know when you're ready to start, because I got to start the timer.
I'm starting.
Okay, here we go. You are on the clock.
All right. Last year, MLB had its most compelling season of all time. We talked about it on this show. We had Aaron Judge breaking home run records. We had so many different things happen. Albert Pujols and Miguel Cabrera breaking records and putting themselves in the record books. This season, with all the rule changes, the game is going to be faster. So all of the awesome stuff, all the awesome athletes that we already have in baseball, now speed it up, make it more crisp, and make more action happen quicker. We're going to shorten that time between balls put in play, and I really think that it's going to be a more consumable game for fans, the novice fans especially, who don't necessarily want to sit through a 3-hour game and wait for a foul ball to happen every other minute or so. More action is going to happen. This is going to be the best season MLB's had in the last 10 years.
All right. Do you yield the rest of your time?
How much time am I yielding?
5 seconds.
All right. I'd like to take this 5 seconds to say that Jack is a poo-poo head. And I don't like his hat.
And time.
I don't like his hat.
Whoa!
I yield.
Whoa!
I yield.
That's the College of DuPage Chaparrals? That's messed up, man. All right. I'm ready. Yeah.
All right. Here we go. You're on the clock.
Roll it. All right. I actually kind of agree with you, right? Just following the storylines of baseball last year, I think it was one of the most compelling, one of the most interesting, and from a narrative perspective, one of the best seasons of baseball we've had. And you know what that got them? The second lowest watched World Series in a long time. Even when the game is at its peak in interest, nobody's watching. And the speed is going to help a lot. But keep in mind what's going on in other places, right? We just had the busiest NBA trade deadline. Everyone's watching the playoffs. We have an insane AFC in football now. So there goes fall. Baseball might be better this year, but I think you're just going to have to capture that same like 6 to 8 week window in the summer when nothing else goes on. Not because baseball's not trying to improve their product, but because people still haven't found a way to get into it. And it's going to be a slow build. It'll take 5 or 6 years to get to that best season in a long time point from a viewership standpoint.
Do you yield the rest of your time?
Absolutely.
All right.
I got a 30-second rebuttal.
You get a 30-second rebuttal to digest what he said, and you could strike back. You could, take it however you wish. You are on the clock.
I think that there's definitely going to be a learning curve in some of the new adjustments to the game. But when you look at why it was the second lowest watched World Series, I think it's because the city of Philadelphia was involved. Everybody knows that it's an armpit city. Nobody likes the fans, and they've had way too much success this year in their teams getting to championship games, but thank God they lose them all. I think that's specifically why you saw low viewership. It's not necessarily because people didn't want to tune in for baseball. They just didn't want to tune in for Philly versus Houston, two teams and two cities they dislike.
They just had a Super Bowl with high viewership, though. That was Philly,
and
too.
Everybody rooted for Kansas City.
And time. Good points.
Who wins?
This is gonna be interesting. Well, Jack
yielded 30 seconds of his time. How could he win?
He didn't. He yielded 5 seconds.
I only had 30 seconds, I think. I feel like maybe we should set a full timer and then just go back.
Ryan has a minute. Jack has a minute. Then Ryan gets 30 seconds. And then Jack gets 30 seconds.
Oh, dude, I thought I was quick. Oh, I didn't realize I get another 30 seconds.
Another 30 seconds? What the fuck?
Then let's get into it. I've got one more key point I'd like to mention.
He's got the disadvantage because it's the opposite. He's got to refute your take.
Yeah, it's really tough for me to talk about why baseball is.
That's why I thought it was fitting.
All right, ready when you are. I'll wait for you.
All right, clock is running.
So I do appreciate that baseball is trying, and I like that there were rule changes, but they're streamlining the game. I'm still very opposed to this defensive shift where at least your eyes can catch on to something different and you can see the showcase of creativity and color that these teams have. But the game is becoming more uniform, and I think that's not going to be great in the long run. I think it's going to require little patch notes every other season or so.
Yeah, we could yield the rest of your time.
Wait, I have a hot take that didn't have time for this, but I want to say it and we'll come back to it at a later point. I thought about this last week, Ryan, and I don't think I told you. What I've come to learn deep within myself thinking about baseball, I think home runs are bad for baseball. I never thought that I would get to that point, but I think home runs are a problem in the interest level of baseball, and it didn't fit this conversation, but that's a teaser for a later date.
We're going to have plenty of time for discussion on a bunch of random stuff now that football's over with.
Kind of.
We might even have room for drafts and stuff like that on this show. This is certainly something that I would like to explore because home runs are kind of the only highlight play that you can get from a hitter, right? That's the thing. Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll move forward.
Yeah.
Getting into the deliberation of the points, breakdown of both sides, I think that Jack made some
tally system or something. What do you mean you're breaking it down?
Yeah, what's your rubric?
I am just listening.
This is horse shit.
What do you mean this is horse shit?
You're about to get a point. This isn't a problem.
I think Jack made some very good points as a known disliker of baseball. Baseball is trying, and the reason I posed this question or this topic was because I've seen a lot of stuff coming out about the different rule changes, and I think it's going to be pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to seeing how these new rule changes affect the game this season. And I think the winner is going to be Ryan, because I think in his rebuttal. The Philly is a trash city. It's an armpit of a city. Made me laugh. So like a belly laugh. And then the fact that they did just have a Super Bowl and they did have stupendous viewership of that Super Bowl. He's just a diehard baseball fan. I'm going with Ryan. Ryan, you take this first round. I am keeping track of points.
You know what's crazy is
this just 1 point?
Yeah, it was 1 point.
Just 1 point.
Okay.
If you take Bryce Harper out of the MLB, I think it becomes 1/5 less watchable. I think he occupies a large market share of watchability, and so we need Philadelphia for now.
Just make Tyler laugh. It's my
It's
strategy
not going to
moving
work every
forward.
time. Just get
Try
creative.
it
It doesn't have to be by the book. Okay, so now we're going to switch sides. So Jack, you will be defending the take or the topic that I give you. And Ryan, you will be on the opposing side.
Got it. Just a quick note, Jack, moving forward, as the gentleman's agreement, we will say yield
Okay, yeah.
to yield
Yeah,
our time.
whenever you're
All
done.
right.
And if you don't, I will tell you when your time. If you're
No,
on
we
the team.
have to, otherwise it doesn't count. It's like saying what is for Jeopardy.
Yeah. I'll say yield.
I like that.
Because, well,
I like
I'm not
that.
just gonna burn the time. You can have it. I don't need it anymore.
All right, let's switch over to football. As we were talking about the Eagles in the Super Bowl. Even though this is the topic, even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, the Eagles were the best team in the NFL this season. Jack,
that's the take.
That is the take.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
That's the position that Jack
yuck.
is defending. Ryan, you will refute that. Give yourself.
He doesn't believe it, so he
Yeah.
doesn't reason to argue.
Hold on, give me a little bit of time or something.
No, you're good. Just
Woo. This is that even though the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, the Eagles were the best team this year, right?
in the NFL.
In the NFL.
Best team is up to your interpretation.
Yeah. I hear that. All right. I mean, I guess I'm ready. Whatever.
There is no hope for you.
Jack, you are on the clock.
All right. So if we're talking about with respect to the Super Bowl, I think you have to talk about the accumulation from week 1 to week 21 or whatever the last week of the season is. And that included 2 massive blowout victories, not for the Chiefs, but for the Eagles, that they beat the Giants 38-7. They beat the 49ers 31-7. Giving up 14 points in your first 2 playoff games is crazy, especially as the number 1 seed in a year where they started as co-favorites with Dallas, pulled away by the end. And I think Jalen Hurts is really trying to put himself at the top of the mountain on quarterbacks. He's not there yet, but you've got a young coach, a young quarterback, and a bunch of young receivers. This is a team that has put together something impressive without being one of the blue bloods of the 2020s. Yield.
Now, Skip, listen.
I don't like it. That has to be a deduction.
I think when you look at the Eagles, they had the most complete roster of any team in the NFL this year. And it's still crazy that when you look at them and the season they had, and I was a big believer in the Eagles, but when you look at them and the season they had, they never faced elite quarterback play from the opposition standpoint until the Super Bowl. Their playoff run involved Daniel Jones and 5th string quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, which just happened to be their 3rd string quarterback without his throwing arm. And then they got to the Super Bowl, and the first real challenge they had, they didn't struggle per se, but they did fail. They lost the Super Bowl, and I can't say that this was the best team in football when you have Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball to Juju Smith-Schuster and Mecole Hardman. Yes, he has Travis Kelce, but you can only throw to him so many times a game. The supporting cast around him wasn't there, and still the Chiefs found a way through 21 weeks to be the champion this year. There was no real running game involved there until they found Isaiah Pacheco later in the year. The Chiefs were far and away the best team in the NFL this year.
I will give you a second to collect your thoughts, Jack.
I'm ready.
Bulletproof.
You're on the clock.
Bulletproof.
So I think this is one of the biggest problems in evaluation of teams is conflating Super Bowls with actual team quality, right? Is that it's really hard to win a Super Bowl, and that's why it's not a clean pyramid of the best have always gotten it. But the Chiefs did not have quite a hard path either. They had the AFC West, which ended up being a roll through, and they lost to good quarterbacks during the regular season. So just because the Eagles didn't play them didn't mean the Chiefs are good. They lose to Joe Burrow, they lose to Josh Allen, and then they skate by the Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts gauntlet. Just narrowly get it in.
I think when you talk about team, you're also talking about everything around the players on the field. You're looking at the coaching staff. You're looking at the ownership. You're looking at everybody in the front office. And when you look at the Chiefs, they were the best team in the NFL this year. Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy, and hell, even Matt Nagy as the quarterback's coach, all the way up to Brett Veach and the ownership group there with the Hunts. Everybody top to bottom was great, and they did it with less this year, I think. And that's what makes the Chiefs not only Super Bowl champions, but the best team in the league and one of the most well-run organizations in sports.
Wow.
Not bulletproof. You changed the argument. You talked about the organization, not the team.
That's the team.
No, nobody's like,
That's
oh, dude,
the whole team.
No.
This is a very contentious round. I thought you guys both had great arguments for your side. I am not on the side that the Eagles were the best team. I just thought it would be an interesting discussion.
Wait, so who do we think the best team was this season? Let's just a quick checkpoint.
I think it was the 49ers.
I think that might be who I say also.
Knee jerk. I think it was the Niners. Even with Purdy, like they won 7 games in a row. It just happened that he blew his elbow out, and that was like they're falling from grace.
Yeah, I agree. I think another interesting team, I don't think it's the best team. I thought another team that is close to being what the 49ers were this year is the Dolphins. I think they're on the right track.
Yeah, they could get there. They're not too close right now, but they could get there.
But at the end of the day, I have to pick a winner and a loser. So I'm going to let chaos ensue because I cannot decide. You two will play rock, paper, scissors to decide who gets
what
the
fuck?
Huh?
Best 2 out of 3? Best 2 out of 3?
I totally.
How is this your punishment episode?
Yeah.
I can do what I want.
Wait, hold on.
What?
Wait, can I don't know. How do you do this in a fair, like, I'm going to set it and then we like reveal?
1, 2, 3, go.
Okay. All right.
Have you never played it like that?
I just feel like on a camera, I don't know if there's delay or something. It feels weird to do this over the
Okay, let's see. If I go, don't show anything. I go 1, 2, 3. Like count when you hear it.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I
do
mean,
the
I
whole
know
thing.
how rock, paper, scissors work.
I'm trying to see if there's a lag.
Okay,
I'm trying to see
ready?
if there's a lag.
All right, ready?
1, 2, 3.
3.
Okay, so there is a lag.
See, I didn't feel a lag though. That's the problem. All right, what if we like
Tyler, you do it, and then we'll just flash up.
I'm gonna
right.
text Tyler what I'm picking.
On 3, we're gonna flash up. Like he's gonna go 3. We gotta go.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, shoot.
The fuck? Dude, there has to be a DQ.
No, because he said shoot. He said shoot. He said shoot.
Everything in the book.
He said 1, 2, 3. I said we'll show on 3.
Okay,
I
fine.
showed
We'll
rock.
show on 3.
Run
We'll
the
show on
tape. I
3.
showed rock.
We'll do it again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Well, both
Tie.
scissors. Okay.
All right. 1, 2, 3. And Ryan Sartori takes the first round with rock.
Good. I have my eyes
Second
closed. I didn't
round.
know what happened.
We're doing 2 out of 3. We're doing 2 out of 3. All right.
2 out of 3. Here we go.
Oh,
1,
another one?
2, 3. Ryan
What was
Sartori has paper and has won the point.
Suck it, bitch.
No,
Ryan
that
off
seems
to a
about
hot
right.
start.
If you told me that, like, oh, you're gonna argue with Ryan Sartori, and if he could beat you in rock paper scissors, he wins, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay. We are going to stick with football. Ryan, you are defending this topic that I give. Jack, you will rebut. The topic is the Chicago Bears just bought Arlington Park. I think Arlington Park will be an overwhelming success. Ryan, you will support this. Jack, you will refute this. Let me know when you fellas are good to go.
I'm
I
ready.
haven't actually thought too much about this topic before, but I'll say I'm ready because he's going first, anyways.
All right.
The
Ryan,
Bears,
you're on the clock.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. The Bears' purchase of the Arlington Heights property, where they're going to build their new home as a franchise, cannot fail, because when you look at it, they've now set themselves up for success. We look at the Super Bowl. We just talked about the Eagles and Chiefs. They've got 2 guys in their front office building the roster out from the bottom up. They also just brought in Kevin Warren to be their new president of business operations for their team. This is the guy who built the stadium for the Minnesota Vikings. This is the guy who helped make monumental changes in the TV contract monies for the Big Ten. This is a guy who gets football and business and how they marry together. When they move to Arlington Heights in the next couple of years, this is going to be a slam dunk home run. The Bears will make money. The Bears will move into becoming a modern NFL franchise, and they will. You can't make me laugh in the middle of my take.
That's a funny thing to say. You're right.
but I think that this is all true. I really don't see a way where they can screw it up. They already have their quarterback of the future. It's going to be a monumental success for this franchise that has seen nothing but failures in its existence.
All right, I'm saying something that's not part of the argument, but just because it's funny. I love that the Bears quarterback of the future is this early round pick. All right, I'm ready for my counter now.
All right. Jack, you're on the clock.
All right, so I think I actually agree with pretty much everything you said. I think the Bears are set up financially for a business angle. It's going to be great, right? Chicago says we don't want you. They left, fine. They found a place in Arlington Heights where the average income is higher. It's closer to a lot of suburban areas so people can get to the game, fine. But if you're talking about like the spiritual success of the place, I'm worried because Chicago is a sports city that is vicious and filled with old-headed stooges who will be like, that's not the Chicago Bears. Why don't they call themselves the Arlington Bears? And all of a sudden, you're losing a big portion of fans that live in the city and mostly use like city public transport to get to places. Arlington is now pretty far away. So will they make money? Yes, but this might be like SoFi Stadium being built and all of a sudden Chargers fans don't exist anymore. And it's just people who want to go see the games because now you're closer to the commercial airports than you are a lot of the actual residential areas yield.
Good point.
I agree to some extent that there will be loss of some fans, but fickle as they be, Chicago sports fans are loyal. They are faithful. They stuck around not only with the Bears, they've stuck around with the White Sox, who had an 80-year World Series drought. They stuck around with the Cubs, who had the longest drought in American sports history. And some of the most prestigious teams in the country don't play in the city that they hail from. We're talking the Dallas Cowboys, almost called them the Dallas Stars somehow. We're talking the Dallas Cowboys. We're talking the San Francisco 49ers. There are so many teams that don't play in the city they claim to be from.
Jack, you're on the clock.
So I think that is true, but there's also a lot of diffusion of who's there, right? Like I think that now the Dallas Cowboys play in Arlington, I think you get a more like a potpourri of fans who are showing up. Same with SoFi, same with Levi's versus Candlestick. And I think one of the things that a lot of sports fans cling to is the history of places, and Soldier Field is historic, right? This is like your Fenway, this is like your Wrigley, right? Like Soldier Field has been there for a long time. And I think that has a lot of meaning to people in especially Midwest and Eastern places. So there's not going to be a way to track a success or failure from this like kind of spiritual angle, but that's what I'm feeling.
It's at the same stage as Fenway and Wrigley.
In the scope of the NFL, what are the more historic stadiums in the NFL? Lambeau?
End of list? Soldier Field. I don't know. I just see it as such a eyesore. It's so ugly and so small, and it's I guess the significance of it to me is so little because I know that like the team that I root for and cheer on every Sunday gets screwed over for playing there.
But like Wrigley and Fenway also are not generally like well received fan parks. Like, and when they come out with the, you know, they're like, oh, here are like the best parts of the stadium reviews and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? When they do like stadiums with the best food and the best seating and the best accommodations and stuff, right? Like those sort of like checkboxy things. Yeah, but they're cool. Like people want to go to them. They have that like intrinsic value.
I will say that battling through the traffic, finding parking, paying exorbitant prices for beer and food is worth the price to go to Wrigley Field. I've never been to Fenway.
Because you're in the suburbs.
I've never been to Fenway, but I would assume that it's the same there, that it's worth it to go there and pay the prices to take in a ball game in that experience, right? When you go to Soldier Field, there is not an aspect of it that I would rather There's nothing there that is endearing to
You're
me
on the
other
way.
than there is the tribute to our servicemen and women there, with obviously being Soldier Field. The parking sucks. Getting out sucks. The field is small. The Bears don't own it, so they only make about half the money. Watching football in person blows.
I've never seen an NFL game in person, so I couldn't speak to that.
It blows.
But I actually do. I, for the record, think that the move to Arlington is very positive for the Bears.
I do too. Tyler,
I
you
was
can cut us
very
off
kind.
whenever. This is you are the Molly
No,
Quirrell.
I
of this
like
show.
this.
Yeah,
I
we're
am
just discussing now.
enjoying the great debate that you two are having. I do have to side with Jack on this one because I have a
This
special
is
place in my
bullshit.
heart for Soldier
This
Field.
is bullshit. You're
You've
just
gotten
giving
2
him a point.
points.
No,
No, I'm
exactly.
not.
You're just giving him a point, so it's a better episode. Which, listen, as a producer, I like and I respect.
You don't know the
But give him
judging
the point.
criteria that I have.
No,
Dude, you were just talking about how people sit in traffic to go see a game at Wrigley Field that is currently, I believe, still in a lawsuit for not having accessible seating and telling people they do. Like, this stadium has actual functional issues, right? Like, its facilities are outdated, but everything you're saying is correct. People will wait in traffic to go there.
When's the last time you were at Wrigley?
6 years ago, probably.
You have to
6,
go
7
now
years
that
ago.
they're finished with their renovations. It is a much, much different place
Okay, I'll take your word for it, but
and a federal landmark. Tax credits.
Jack definitely gets the point for saying, for Ryan saying it's a federal landmark. So it is a closer game now.
Fucking horseshit.
Ryan still leads 2-1. And we're going to go with not a sport, but something about athletics. Jack, you are defending this take.
Oh boy.
Ryan, you are rebutting. Athletes, professional athletes, should be paid less.
Jack keeps getting the hardest ones to.
Dude, I just want to believe in my take. I just want to agree with it. I've taken so many classes on like the finances of sports and athletes to know that this isn't true. All right, give me like 5 seconds. I'll be ready.
You're good.
Well, don't worry. He's going to give you the point at the end of it.
I'm gonna earn that point, by the way.
I'm going to start subtracting points for these little comments coming.
Get the fuck out of here.
Personally
I
love
can
you
do what
for
I
saying that.
want.
I
This is
think-
my episode. I have the power here.
All right, I'm ready when you are.
All right. Jack, you are on the clock.
Okay, so athletes obviously make bazillions of dollars compared to like the average American person, right? Like the contracts for the top professional sports leagues in the country have such high minimums, even for people with no experience, that I think given how much money teams are making and how much is going into endorsement deals and stuff, like there are so many revenue streams for athletes now that it wouldn't be crazy for organizations to find more creative uses for money that are philanthropic to their area. And I could see taking pay cuts from athletes to do so, right? And I think it could apply to executives, other branches of it. But if you take $1 million off of so many of these different athletes, like $100 million a year, all right, now it's 99. Like you could do so much for the community you're in. And that's the purpose that sports and stadiums should serve, is like actually being beneficial to the people who support it. And it takes so little money to make that impact. And it would not change an athlete's opinion. If you said, I'm not giving you 100 million, I'm giving you 98. If that's the reason they're walking, then maybe you've got different problems in the org field.
I just want to point out that Jack took the only angle to this topic that by me refuting it makes me look like an asshole. Here's why little Timmy, suffering from whatever illness, shouldn't get his $2 million.
Game's the game, my friend.
All right, here we go. Jesus Christ. Make a wish, I'm sorry. So I think you make an excellent point. I think that teams maybe even should, with the money that they spend currently, be more philanthropic. At the end of the day, though, what you are, what we're pointing out here is billionaires versus millionaires. Yes, guys like Mike Trout, baseball players specifically, who are making these multi-$100 million deals, are getting exorbitant contracts in their favor. And still, the team has enough money to have some left over. Why aren't those funds from the billionaires that own these teams being allocated towards charitable decisions? I think that is a more reasonable way to look at it. When we look at these players, they have very short shelf lives. When you think about the fact that they're playing from the time that they're kids to the time that they're free agents in MLB, NFL, the NBA, they have a short time to make as much money as they can. Are they exorbitant deals? Yes, of course they are. Can they afford to take $2 million less to make sure that little Timmy, suffering from whatever illness, gets extra money for his family trip? Yes, they can. But I don't think that athletes have to take the hit in order for teams to then just give to charity.
Jack, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, so I think you're right? Like both athletes are generally pretty giving, and I think that owners should be even more giving, especially with like the wealth inequalities and stuff. But this is a way to twist their arm and kind of force them to do positive things. Is like hey, you're gonna spend this money anyways. If we could take a little bit off here, a little bit off here, like it gives them good PR. Like what owner's not gonna go for that? But I also think they could take an extra business decision, which is take some of that money and reallocate it to the sport. MLB owners, let's put more money in your minor league, affiliates so that those operations don't fail. NBA governors, let's take that money and support the WNBA so they're not flying on commercial flights. Like, fine, don't give it to the hospital across the street. Build your own business up, and you could take some from the athletes who ultimately saw the benefit.
There's no doubt like that. That's a great way, I think, to go about it. If you were going to take money from the top and reinvest back into the sport, that's fine. But at the end of the day, I think owners and GMs and things are already manipulative on what they do to player contracts, especially those players from other countries. And so I just think at the end of the day, it adds another avenue for them to have some sort of leverage over these players who, again, have a short span in their profession and want to make as much money as possible. And by saying, hey, maybe you should just give to charity so that we can build up, we can give to the hospital across the street. Maybe you should just give it. I think owners would take advantage of that. I think GMs would take advantage of that too.
Can we clip that? Can we just clip Ryan going, maybe you should give this to charity? Like, oh, dude.
But that's not realistically,
what a
though.
jerk. Look, no, I know what you're saying. No, I'm just teasing.
Realistically, though, and I know you are, but like if that were an avenue that were created, like that's how it would be used. That's like, oh, really? Maybe you should give that extra $5 million to charity. Maybe we can publicize that, because once you start publicizing the intricate details like that, then things get crazy off the rails in terms of contract negotiations and stuff. We already hear some wild stuff like the Carlos Correa ankle thing and whatever. If you start saying like, hey, Chris Bryant won't give $5 million off the top of his contract to charity, like you can really start like pursuing libelous lawsuits against team owners and shit. It'd be weird.
Hey, I'd be down for it. Let's throw some more owners in the libel lawsuits. No, but okay, in serious, before we get the judging, I again want to clarify that like economically, athletes are not paid their worth. They are paid way more than a lot of us are paid, but given the money generated in their industry, they don't actually see a proportional cut. And that's probably true in most industries, is that most people aren't paid their worth because people at the top are vacuuming that up. So although I think, we could come up with some creative ways to reallocate money here, for the record, athletes are technically underpaid, even though they do make a lot of money at the top.
I do agree that athletes shouldn't be paid less. They should be paid more. I picked this one because my dad has an issue with how much some of the people in the NFL are getting paid. And I told him, I said, Dad, what if that was me? It's like, well, that's different. It's not that different.
It's a brotherhood.
Yeah, they're getting paid what they're worth.
I love your dad. I love your dad as a sports fan because he is a total hardo. He is a total hardo sports fan. Like, I don't know why these guys are getting paid so much money. Why the hell should they?
Why is Patrick Mahomes getting paid so much money?
Oh, that would have been a good angle to take, is like, pay deductions for poor performance rather than incentives. Like we should put disincentives into contracts so that the fans are satisfied when it's like, oh, that guy's been horrible for our team. It's like, all right, well, he just cost himself half of his salary this year by being bad. That'd be very toxic for the actual like sport, but I think that could make some fans happier.
You want to talk about sports psychology?
At the end of the day, though, it was a losing battle for Jack. I'm giving Ryan the point. He fought uphill very hard.
Oh, dude,
but,
I had to be so careful to not ever mention like the actual worth of an athlete because I'm like, if
Yeah.
I open that for rebuttal, I just insta lose because that's like factual. I'm like, well, there's got to be another angle here. What about the children?
You did though. You took the smartest route possible by being like, charity? How are you going to tell me to not give money to charity?
Okay.
Oh,
We have 5 topics left.
And it's 3-1.
It's
Yeah.
3-1. That's correct. So
So I need
Jack?
5 to win. I need 5 to
yeah,
close this.
it's a bow 9, best of 9.
So here we go. This is it. We're going to shift into college athletics rather than professional athletics here.
Okay.
A proposed NIL rule change. Colleges would be able to give out NIL deals no matter the price if only they released past illegal recruiting events that occurred within the program.
Oh, that's wild.
So,
Oh my God.
Ryan, you are supporting this.
Wait, so
Jack?
I'm saying that they shouldn't. I'm saying that they should not want. Colleges would not want this proposed change, right?
Yes, this shouldn't be
Okay.
a proposed rule, is your
Okay.
take. I'll give you some time. This one,
Dude, this is
I'm very
great.
proud of this one. I thought of this one myself.
Oh my God. Dude, there's levels to this.
Did Cam Newton ever lose his Heisman? He did, right? No,
No.
but okay.
This one's pretty loaded, so you just give me a go, or you're good whenever you guys are ready.
I'm ready whenever, but I'm second.
I think I'm ready too.
Looking to the Lord for answers. They're like, please, please.
It's like good
No,
Lord, help me.
I'm just thinking because this is very loaded, and how do you get it all off in 1 minute? I'm
Yeah.
just thinking
you
of
know
like
what?
my in and out.
Well, we'll
no,
extend.
you
this one.
don't extend it.
No, no,
I
no.
want a concise minute here.
All right, Ryan, you're on the clock.
Mm. I think one of the biggest atrocities in Major League sports is when the MLB steroid era took over. MLB made money off of that, and then they very quickly transitioned out of it and shamed all the players for doing steroids and making the league so much money. But they still reaped the benefits. I got a minute. I think something right now with NCAA and the NIL deal and how it's all kind of progressing is they're getting kind of the same deal. They underhandedly were giving deals out for quite some time. And now that the NIL deals are real and they can hand out monies to top prospects and top recruits, they shouldn't get off scot-free. They should have to put their past transgressions out for everybody to see in order to spend money, not even with any other stipulation on the other side. In order to spend NIL money in general, I think colleges should have to put their transgressions out on the line for everybody to see. I think that's the only fair way to do it. What I get in a minute and 5 seconds. I thought that was fair and a decent argument.
It's a minute. It was Jack,
good.
you're on the clock.
All right. So what you're talking about with this proposal is it's a cause and effect thing, right? It's like it's a 2-part. But you both need the colleges to have the ability to give the NIL deals, and the consequence of that being releasing any dirt that they have on themselves, which is why it's very easy to not want that, because right now it's probably better for colleges that they're not in charge of NIL money, because a lot of them are public, and even the ones that are private are going to be highly scrutinized. So it's best to leave that to businesses and independent donors who want to take charge of those things and keep your books clean. For the second important reason, which is I'm going to go out and assume that every Division I program and many programs beneath in Division 2 and 3 all have skeletons in the closet. And it's one of those, as long as everybody kind of agrees to play by the same rules, they've gotten away fine. You're right. They've gotten away with it. It's bad for us. We're just benefiting. We're putting money into the product. But it might not be great for us to find out all the things, because then we have to live with the knowledge of what those bad things were, how bad they were, and how many people in powerful positions right now did those bad things. College sports could not afford some sort of like major reset and sweeping through of replacing all these people.
And I think, just in my rebuttal to that, I think what I'm really more looking for is the dollar transgressions, right? Like Reggie Bush had to give up his Heisman, and Cam Newton was investigated and almost had to give up his Heisman because they both received money. No way about it. I think D1 programs, because they have the advantage of the nearly unlimited cash resource, they should have to put their previous cash transgressions out on the line for everybody to see in order to even opt in for NIL monies to be spent by their schools. D3, D2, they don't have the same access to cash, so they shouldn't necessarily have to air out any of their past issues at their schools. But those D1 programs who have that access should have to, again, to even opt in to be doing NIL deals.
So I feel like that's kind of crazy to say, like, oh, it should just be D1, because it's almost more problematic at D2 or D3, where scholarships can't be offered, or where they're more limited, because that means they might be delving into money more often. And also it's the whole same fragile ecosystem, right? I'm with you. I think, do we want to know what all these things were? Sure. But there's no world where you could be like, hey, as long as you guys ratify this, change, and we decide that this is the way we want to go, nobody's going to go for that, right? Like, the colleges are going to stay as close as they can. And we're just going to have to wait for court documents and FBI investigations and Sean Miller getting wiretapped because he gave DeAndre Ayton $100,000, right? Like, we're going to have to just wait for things to leak out over time. We can't just know it.
I just to like extend this conversation.
No,
a bit further.
This is a great conversation. So
it is, and this is a great like concept, Tyler. I think at like the D3 level, the D2 level, like, are there monies passed along in somewhat nefarious ways? Of course there are, especially as it relates to football. But when you think about the impact that has at that scale versus the fact that the D1 programs, the SECs, the Big Tens, the Pac-12s, some of these organizations are like the biggest money earners sometimes in their state. Like, I think about like Alabama, the University of Alabama has got to be one of the biggest revenue generators in the entire state. And like, their ability to have access to cash is got to be far and away above any other school in the United States. So like, yeah, I feel like for the power and the swing that they can have with just their donors and their NIL deals alone, and the power that they can have, if they want to opt into it, it should be a D1 thing, or maybe specifically just D1 football thing, where like, if you want to throw around cash, fine, but you got to tell us what you did in the past.
See, and I'm going to add on to this.
It's a fun hypothetical.
Just because I know, like, I have a couple friends who coach at the lower level, so D3, D2, been through that. It's not like there is not a ton of money being thrown around there. There's NIL
pay to
deals.
play.
And there's not people that are getting like pay to play that I know of, especially like they're able to utilize it in a different way, because you got to think, like, especially at like D3 NAI level, if the football program, like, they don't have the funds for it, then, and they're just going to cut the program. So the way they do it is they utilize like the academic scholarships. So they have to find someone who's more academically appropriate for the school versus, is this guy actually a good football player?
Which
to go with your point though, like I agree. Like, I think especially at the higher levels, like Division I, FCS, I think it should definitely, it would be a better possibility there. more so than D2, D3, and AIA.
To your point, Tyler, it's one of the reasons why I have such a deep respect for D3. Yes, I'm a little biased because I come from a Division III school, but like a lot of those players not only have to be great athletes to go to those schools, but they must also be great students. Must also have great minds and keep up with their academics throughout the course of their athletic calendar and their academic calendar. And so, in a lot of ways, I feel like being a D3 athlete, if you are getting those athletic scholarships and that is helping with your tuition, I feel like a lot of times being a D3 athlete, it's way harder because if let's say a football player at North Central College, right? They're a top program in the country. You have to make sure that you're on top of your stuff football wise, going in with the game plan, getting your lifts in, getting your nutrition right and stuff like that. But you're not going to get your scholarship dollars if you're not passing all of your classes. And as far as I know, it's rare that the coach says, hey, you're just going to pass this guy. Like, that's not the type of school that it is. I can't speak to the Mary Hardin Baylors and Mount Unions and Whitewaters of the world, but like having been at North Central, I can't speak to that. So again, it kind of like leads me to believe that in this situation, it wouldn't be as fair for a school to air out their transgressions at D3, D2 level. But that D1, man, they've done some nefarious shit.
It's the same, but it doesn't matter like how widespread the problem is in my mind, because like just because a D1 school has larger programs and more athletes, like they will have more problems and things hiding. But I think it was either Elmhurst or Wheaton, and I'm sorry to whichever one I'm falsely indicting, but just within the last 10 or 15 years, once or twice had like sanctions against them for like misappropriation of scholarship funds, like funneling it. It was kind of like sure, they lose some, you get fined or they lose some scholarship money. I don't remember exactly how the story goes down, but it's like, yeah, even though the impact maybe is smaller, it's like it's even more problematic in a way, because there are so many extra programs. Like if you just look at the SEC, that's 10 schools, that's 12 schools, right? But like if you add all other D1 conferences and all the D2 and all the D3, if this hypothetical rule was going to be a rule, it would have to be NCAA wide, because then you would just have people skirting around, and it would change the competitive format, because you go to the place where the rules don't apply to you. If you're already going to break the rules and now they're tightening the rules, go somewhere where you don't have to worry about the rules.
I'll absolve Elmhurst of any blame in that. As a North Central alum, I will wholeheartedly blame Wheaton, even if it isn't Wheaton.
Even if it isn't. It was one of the two, and I don't remember which, but it had to be like in the mid 2010s or something.
Those Bible thumping weirdos. Anyway.
Jeez. All right.
Great.
Roll cards, baby.
This was awesome. I'm really glad that this topic got you guys fired up and got you thinking.
It was a great topic. That was a great question.
I was so excited about this question. I came up with it on my own, and I was like, this is gonna be a good one. It's really tight for me, because I think both sides, like, there's definitely the compelling argument for it. I did like what Jack said about, the $100,000.
DeAndre Ayton busted.
Again, all you have to do is laugh.
Well, no. I think to be
I didn't award anyone points yet.
It's your tone, Tyler. It's your tone. It's the way you said it.
But I also think that, the question is like proposed NIL rule change, like agree or disagree. And I think the people who would have to be involved in that change would all disagree. And that's who I was representing.
Yeah, I don't think this would fly. And if this hit like a committee, this would be like, well, of course not. Because then you got to think like all the ramifications, like, oh my, like think of like the
Jim Harbaugh's going to come out and be like, I want you guys to know how all of Michigan's athletic department's finances work. Like, that's going to be great for you guys.
Right.
I was basically representing the government.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I think Ryan gets the point, just because he had like really compelling stuff. Just in regards, again, it was kind of, it could have went either way. I think the subject matter of what Ryan said, I think it supported his point just a little more.
here's a fun stat for you. This is twice now on this episode where Ryan has been baited by the fact that my name gets mentioned first, as if he's never heard of suspense before. Where it's like, well, Jack had some good points. He's like, how could you give it the points? Like, it started with a well. That means there's going to be a but, and that means you're getting a point.
Not always.
2 for 2.
I mean, I have to do this for the listener. I have to make the
Oh,
experience
I'm on board with
enjoyable.
that.
I can't just be like, "Yep, Jack gets the point," or Ryan.
Well,
Gets the
you
point,
could.
know?
I'd be fine with that first one, to be honest.
Well, this next one will be more for Jack's favor, as he is going to support this statement. And this one was specifically designed for this matchup for Ryan to rebut and Jack to defend. The topic is
baseball.
NBA basketball is the most exciting sport during the year, and more people should watch it.
Oh.
You
Jack-
could not have picked a worse time to ask this question. Go ahead.
See, I don't think I believed any of my stances so far.
I thought you would be behind this the most because I know.
No, there's no chance it's the most exciting sport. Oh, it's not even the most exciting basketball. All right, give me a few seconds.
I can't. I'm about to fucking win. I can't believe it. I'm about to win.
Wait, say it one more time for me. Say the whole thing one more time. There's got to be
NBA basketball is the most exciting major sport of professional sport during the year, and more people should watch it.
Most exciting sport, and more people should watch it. Okay, fine. I'm ready.
Jack, you're on the clock.
All right, 2 key points, right? Most exciting sport and more people should watch it. Most watched sport is football right now. I don't think it would be unreasonable for basketball to pass it up because it's got so many people playing across the country. It's a very accessible sport. It crosses gender lines and wealth lines, stuff like that. But the reason why it's exciting is because it actually, of the 4 major North American sports, is the most visually entertaining. Baseball is slow. The players are spaced far apart, and it moves pitch by pitch. Hockey is difficult to watch because you can't even see people. They're all in pads. The puck moves fast. And though football might be my favorite sport to watch, this year has certainly showcased what can make it difficult to watch, which is a rising problem with injuries and the fact that you only get it really 1 day a week with a couple exceptions. So if that game you're watching doesn't turn out to be great, you've got to wait a whole week for it. NBA, every team plays 82 games. It is the fastest moving. It has the most points scored or most forms of points scored of any game. And the playoff picture heats up right in time when football is over, the trade deadline hits, and people can get invested into it. So it is the most exciting to watch.
I think one of the biggest issues plaguing basketball right now, specifically NBA, is the fact that they have so many players in their league, so many star players that aren't currently invested in the future of this game. They don't care about basketball. They just happen to be good at basketball and they play in it. In any other major sports league, you have players who are both good at it and wildly passionate about what they do. I don't think that players like Kyrie and Kevin Durant are wildly passionate about playing the game of basketball. On top of that, we just exited All-Star Weekend for the NBA, and you had multiple players saying that the competitiveness of one of the biggest spectacles of the year was the comparison of a glorified layup line. Not only did the players think this, the coaches in this game thought the same exact thing. I think that some nights the lethargic nature of some of these players is on display. And honestly, I don't think that this is the most exciting, and I don't think that more people should tune out, especially not until we get more players invested in the future of this game.
All right. So I think saying it's not exciting to watch because the All-Star game has gotten more boring over time is like saying people shouldn't watch football because they ruined the Pro Bowl, or people shouldn't watch TV if they don't like cartoons. Like, yeah, it's a totally different game. So I'm just ending that and throwing it out the window, right? But as far as the players being invested in the future, I think the NBA was more transformative over the 10 to 12 years ago on restructuring the way that organizations are set up so that players have more say in what happens, that the players union has or players association, I should say, in the NBA has more of a say in what happens. Oh, I missed my big point, but that's fine. I'll play time.
Even if they restructured it and gave more ownership to the players on what happens in the league. I think that the league has grown tremendously, but I don't think that the players have done a whole lot to help the cause of getting more eyes on their game. Every 3 nights, somebody's sitting out. You spend your hard-earned dollars and go to the game, and your favorite player might be sitting. And again, yeah, the All-Star game is a small side note to this, but still, it being so boring and people not wanting to put on their best performance for fans is not a reason to put more eyes on it.
Dude, I don't even know.
What was your big point?
The big one is that it doesn't change how exciting it is to watch if players care about the future. Is like I don't care about the future, and I still could be very good at basketball and fun to watch. But you don't have to count this towards the points. I think it is wild to be like, I saved up my hard-earned dollars just for this guy to sit out. There are 16 NFL games in a year, and if you want good tickets, you might have to book your trip months in advance. And you don't know if the quarterback will be healthy. You don't know if Buffalo will be snowed under, so you flew to New York and they end up playing in Detroit.
But you also know if that player is healthy, they are going to play because they are wildly in love with playing their game. You've got healthy scratches every night in basketball because they just load management. Like for whatever reason, they're just like, I'm going to sit down tonight.
Yes, to keep players healthier during the year, because it sucks to finally make your trip out to Levi's Stadium and then realize that the turf is going to knock out the 49ers' top 3 quarterbacks. And there you are in the third quarter going, I don't even know the name of this guy. Sure, they were healthy going into it, but football is hard. And that's how that's why we're seeing more injuries as a part. It's like, change the game, change the speed, change the rules, change the surface they play on. You don't have to count this towards the points, but I think that argument is kind of crazy on the oh man, I've been wanting to come to this game and then this guy didn't end up playing. You can buy tickets to anything in advance and not see.
Do you think that it's more compelling for somebody, just a random person, to tune into a game if they know that the player that they're turning the game on to watch is not only very good at basketball, but also is passionate about basketball or passionate about whatever sport? I think that Mike Trout is phenomenal at the game of baseball, but I don't think he's passionate about baseball. I don't regularly make it appointment television to watch Mike Trout, but I will commonly watch somebody like Julio Rodriguez. Obviously, he's only played for a season, but somebody whose enthusiasm for the game shows through, I am more apt to turn the TV on for, rather than somebody like a Kevin Durant, a Kyrie Irving. I don't know why I keep coming back to those two, but because
you don't want to mention guys like Ja Morant who go out and are talking about how crazy.
But Ja Morant is somebody I will turn the TV on for, or turn the TV on for. I will turn the TV on for Giannis. I will turn the TV on for a number of guys in the NBA, but there are also a ton that don't shine through or I think aren't enthusiastic about their game for whatever reason. I also think that every player in the NFL is genuinely enthusiastic about the game that they play, and they have to be, because every single week they're putting their bodies and we were shown this year their lives on the line.
See, I just feel like I can't pretend to get into the athlete's mind there, unless an athlete is vocal about, Anthony Edwards said some goofy things about not really liking basketball. Nick Kyrgios has said things about not liking tennis. Otherwise, you kind of have to be passionate to get that far, right? So I can't pretend to implant passion.
Why do you like college basketball more than NBA basketball?
That's not the episode.
No, but the answer there, I'm almost certain, is because they play with more ferocity. They play with more passion because it means more to them.
I say the same thing about college football.
Yes and no, because the staying power of an NFL player isn't the same as an NBA guy, I don't think.
What do you mean, the staying power?
You can very quickly, if you're not trying hard enough in football, find yourself off of an NFL roster. I think you can. I think that you don't have to try as hard in basketball to stay on the roster. I also think basketball is an easier sport to play. But now we're getting further away from the point. So Tyler, your point system comes into play now.
Yes. Again, I didn't know Jack was going to dislike this topic, and I'm very sorry that this happened.
I was trying to get you some points.
I did. Jack does get the point. And where it happened for me was when Ryan, you started talking about how players don't care about the future of the game. I don't really think, maybe in baseball it's more prevalent, but I don't think in football or even in basketball it really matters. Like they should worry about their shelf life that you were talking about earlier. So that's where you kind of lost me a little bit. So I gave Jack the point.
I suppose a better way to say that, which was said later and after the fact, so I won't argue it, is an enthusiasm for the game rather than caring about the future. Is like just coming out and showing up every night with a genuine enthusiasm for what they're doing. Like if I showed up to radio every day and was just like, nobody would tune in and listen. But because I show up with enthusiasm every day, somebody might tune in,
Yeah, dude, like watch an NBA game and tell me like, those dudes are just like strolling up and down the court. Like that is hard. Like these guys are drenched in sweat minutes in, right? Like they're not mailing it in.
I also think it's 80 something games a year, right? Anyway, we spent too much time on this topic and we still have 3 to go. It is 4-2. Jack is down. He's got some ground to make up, but we have 2 topics that are kind of not about a particular sport. They're more about sports in general, and they're a little different. So this first one, Ryan, you will be defending this topic. Jack will be rebuking. AI and robots will take over the future of sports.
I have to defend that?
Yes.
I mean, at least on this one, Ryan, I don't even know which side is correct.
I don't
The
either.
ones I had, I knew my side was wrong.
Okay.
I did kind of talk myself into that NBA one. I have to think about that. I might believe that by the end of this.
I think
I actually, as someone who doesn't watch the NBA, Jack, I really liked your argument for it. So,
Yeah, I surprised myself too.
anyway,
All right, AI.
that was a big hockey guy. Okay.
Ryan, you're whenever, just as soon as you start talking, I'll start the clock.
I think no matter where sports go in the future, the sports will always lie in human hands with players on the field. But one thing that I can see happening with regards to AI and technology and how its involvement changes the trajectory of sports in the future is officiating. We've already heard the conversations pop up with robot umpires and MLB. And I mean, one of the biggest conversations we have about every major game that happens in football or in basketball is that we're constantly talking about the officiating. So who's to say that we can't have some sort of AI, advanced analytics, whatever it might be, officiating games and changing the trajectory of sports as we know it with more specific calls, with more precise calls that impact the game a little less. It would definitely change things because not only would you get the ticky-tack fouls, you would get the major fouls correct and wrong, or you would just always get them correct. I don't fucking know. I tried to come up with something. I did my best.
Time.
They would always be correct, right? They would technically always be correct.
Yeah.
In theory.
The ticky-tack ones and the big ones would technically always be correct.
Wait till you hear my rebuttal.
Jack, you're on the clock. Whenever you start, I will start the clock.
So the resistance to enhancing technology in officiating, if that's the realm you want to talk, that's the realm I can talk, is that humanly, especially in the arena of sports, we have a twisted sense of justice, right? The carriage of justice is a big thing. And as it pertains to officials, the more we've given them, the more embarrassing we make them feel when they're wrong, right? Is you had one camera on slow-mo. How'd you not get this call right? You went to review for 5 minutes. How'd you not get this call right? You have 18 cameras in the stadium. How come everybody at home can tell what happened and you couldn't? So you can keep piling on more technology, but the problem is everybody wants to be right. However, people don't always want the right thing to happen. You mentioned the ticky-tack fouls. If every time somebody tugged on a jersey in basketball or in football and it had to stop the game for an infraction, I think that would be a net negative. And I feel like it's just a tough pill to swallow. But in deep down, sports fans do kind of want this to stay. Is we like human error because then we can assign blame. If things were right all the time, then we just have to live with feeling bad. And if things are better, but they don't get it right, then we feel mad. And neither of those is super great.
Tyler, is the prompt that it will change sports or is the correct decision for sports?
AI and robots will take over the future of sports.
I just riffed off of what you said. I ignored the prompt.
I will, I'll tell you what I had in mind when I thought of this question after you guys are finished. So
You're thinking like avatars and stuff, right? Like virtual players.
I don't know. Just continue your where you guys are at.
I think we definitely always want to assess blame, and the human element will always be a part of sports, because if we can't have performance enhancing drugs, we're definitely not going to have performance enhancing robots playing the game on the field. But I think one way that AI and one way that technology can find its way entwined with the sports that we love is officiating, right, wrong, or indifferent. Like, it's already being talked about and already being discussed at the major league level for the oldest game in America and America's once pastime in baseball. It's entirely possible that we get it in all sports with these AI referees.
Yeah,
Check.
It feels like an awesome school project what we're doing right here.
Yeah, I think there certainly is a place as AI develops quickly where maybe it'll show itself to be more useful. But given the rawness that a lot of artificial intelligence still has, you're going to have to work through bugs. And I think that's one of the concerns as baseball. They've already been working on this robot umpire thing for years, right? Like experimenting with it at different levels, hypothesizing different ways. Sure. But you can't just like, okay, we're just going to roll with it. It's such a slow burn to get there that, like, will it one day happen? Maybe, but you might have to make sacrifices in the interim, and big sports leagues don't always do that.
Yeah, that one was kind of tough. So the way I thought about this when I wrote the question is the route that I would have taken if I was posed this question was, if I was supporting it, I would have said yes, because at the end of the day, athletes' health, particularly in football, I could see it potentially going towards AI and robotics.
I was going to say the area that I left kind of uncharted was like the metaverse and like people using their like specific avatars to play sports in whatever like is if it is the metaverse or whatever AI realm exists for people to live vicariously through whatever means, like that could be something that takes over sports too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a tough question. It made me think of, I don't know. I'd been hearing a lot of stuff about AI and all this like Chat GPT stuff, and it made me think about that and how it would relate to sports. And would there be a way that it could make its way into any league? And I completely forgot about the robotic umpire, the umpire that will get every call correct in theory, right?
That's part of the difference too, right? Is like, I think it's good that we ended up talking more about just like use of technology and like enhanced machinery, because artificial intelligence is like a different thing, and I think is very, 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 very far away from any major sports realm. It's going to be closer to like, sure, in a metaverse or an esports world, but like artificial intelligence specifically is really far from sports.
I don't think it'll ever touch sports either.
No. And I think at the end of the day, sports is always going to have the human element, right?
It has to. That's why we tune in.
Right.
Until there are no more humans.
I will Ryan, you did good, son. You did good.
Oh, is this the well and then the butt? Is it Jack won?
Jack did win the point.
You caught on though. I like that.
I mean, Ryan, you did as best as you could for the topic. You know, it's kind of against you because you don't want to see
make a compelling argument. I said I don't know what the fuck to say.
The first argument, yeah. It's tough. So this is another one. This next topic is another one. 4-3. Ryan, are you sweating yet, or are you still cool as a cucumber?
Yeah,
I'm chilling, cuz. I'm chilling.
All right. This next one is kind of similar, not relating to technology, but another sports question. Jack, you're probably going to hate me again.
Oh no.
This is the topic.
Okay.
The future of entertainment lies solely in sports. Movies and TV are on the way out.
This might be Jack's Walter White in a crawl space moment.
No.
I-
Start the clock.
Okay.
All right, going off of that. The problem that we have with movies and TV and forms of multimedia is that there is simply too much of it. Is that we can make an unlimited amount of things, and all of these things have to be consumed. And if you're not in, you're behind. Sports is nice because it's scheduled, right? With a very small exception, NFL was always 16 games. Now it's 17 in a regular season, right? Like NBA's 82. College football runs strictly within one calendar year, and then it runs just a little bit past Christmas and New Year's for bowl games and stuff, right? Like, you know what you're getting. There is a set amount that you're getting. But like, I don't have the time or patience. There's a zillion TV shows and movies I want to watch. You think I know what the heck a Walter White in a crawl space is? I'm not going to watch dumb, boring Breaking Bad because there's so many things that I can do instead. Whereas sports, if I want to see a football game, I can't just go like, it's June, I'm going to turn on football and binge watch it. I need football to happen. So with everybody feeling on the outs, we might just have to get rid of some of the traditional mainstream medias as sources of entertainment. Maybe we'll get news, maybe we can get history or something, but as source of entertainment, gonzo.
As long as nostalgia exists, as long as movie making and the silver screen exists, there will always be a space for it. I would like to point out recently that there was a movie. It was a remake of a movie that was made less than a decade and a half ago that just made $1 billion at the box office. Avatar recently just came out, and people flocked to the movie theaters to watch it. Not only that, but every Marvel movie makes at least $100 million or more. Listen, it doesn't matter. Sports are completely and 100% engulfing and enticing to watch, but it will never completely kill off the media industry, the movies and TVs. There are towns built around these things. Hollywood, it's its backbone. Did Miami ever go under? No, because there's an unlimited supply of cocaine there. That is what built that city. A city like Hollywood, a city like LA would never let movies and TV go off. Can I tell you something?
The Miami cocaine thing. Where did that come from?
You know what? I kind of lost focus in that one. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, oh, I'm gonna win this, and now Jack might, because wow.
Oh my God!
I gotta focus up.
All right, no, because I'm ready. I'm ready.
All right, whenever you're ready, just go ahead and start. I'll start the clock.
Okay. Here's the thing with movies and TV shows. The people who make them, people who are in them, we're starting to learn that they're not better than we are. I'm not better than the athletes that I watch on TV, but there are certainly actors or filmmakers or showrunners where people will watch and go, now, wait a second. I just watched a series of TikToks where a guy had a much more streamlined narrative and was way funnier. So what we're going to do is we're going to take down the established TV movie making, and we're going to move to the social media. Everyone's a content creator. We're already there. Everybody's got a podcast, Exhibit Us, a YouTube channel, a Twitch channel. You can just say what you want. You no longer have to have an in Hollywood or an in the community to make some big TV show. So eventually the people will rise up. They'll get rid of that, but sports will be saved because those people are actually better at what they do than the rest of us.
If there was one thing in this world that I would be certain would never go away, it is TV, it is movies, it is everything that happens on your screen in your living room, and that's sports, and that's also TV. Like I said, I yield. I don't have a compelling argument here. I know that I have the right side. I'm not. I didn't organize myself well enough, and I'm not gonna win it. No. So wow. I'm gonna play for game 9.
Yeah. Editor's note. Editor's note. Ryan Sartori.
He yielded the whole point. He just said, "I'm done."
There was no way I was gonna win that. It just wasn't gonna happen.
Oh, this was earlier in the show. You said, like, Tyler, I could tell you're just giving points to keep it even. And that's what I would do. And now here you are, maybe doing that exact thing. Walking the talk.
I'm blown away that you just yielded all that time. Like, you were just like, I'm not prepared.
I didn't organize well.
Maybe
I don't know what to tell you.
Maybe it was just like, it was so rock solid what he was saying. I don't know. I could be in bad shape.
I am kind of glad that I flipped the question last second. So at first it was sports is a thing of the past. Movies are here to stay. And I
that would be dumb.
switched
That
it
would-
at the
that was a
last
dumb
second.
thing.
I feel like that would have been a lot easier for me to argue.
But I'm glad I switched it because I think it made for a more compelling argument.
I will
that
say that
is
my stream of consciousness was supposed to be like, people are still spending oodles of dollars to go see these films, and like unlimited things come out on Netflix and Hulu, and every streaming service in the world is available. And I chose to go for a joke about stupid Miami.
I got so confused.
Can I tell you something?
left
I
hand.
did
was
too.
Uh-huh.
I did too. I got a little confused. It came up in my brain and I was like, yeah, cocaine in Miami. And then it just came out. And we're an hour and a half into this. And sometimes it happens where mental fatigue and fugue sets in.
Oh my God.
That's where we're at.
All
And
right.
so I'd like to
Yes.
apologize to all my fans for not showing up during this game. NBA players may sit out and not take accountability, but I will. I'll take accountability for losing this 8th point. I'm going to come out and we're going to play our asses off for this 9th point. We're going to debate like nobody's ever debated before. We're going to bite kneecaps.
This could be the most contentious question
Oh my
of
God.
the day.
I don't know
I
if I'll
hope it is.
recover.
Just to Ryan, you are defending this statement.
Oh, wait. Before we hear it. You went first, and now that we've played the game, I'm going to give you the option, Ryan. Do you want to take this point, or do you want me to have it? Because this is the tiebreaker round. So I'll say if you don't want whatever he's about to say, this is your door 1, door 2. I'll let you choose because we put you in the hot seat.
These are the cards I was dealt.
But you chose.
These are the cards I was dealt.
Okay.
And I'm going to play with this hand.
All right, fair enough.
Tyler should be allowed to host again.
This is so easy. So easy. That's the whole question.
That is the whole question.
I do quite enjoy a self-serving question. All right. I think that Tyler should be allowed to host this podcast again for a variety of reasons. But number one, today, why is he laughing? Today we saw. This is fucking bullshit. You can start my fucking timer. No, restart my timer.
No. Restart his timer.
My opponent is saying restart.
Restart his timer.
Okay.
That's my fault.
Clock's restarted.
Okay, hold on.
This is fucking horse shit. Yeah, go away, Jack. Piece of shit.
Start whenever you're ready, Ryan.
All right. I think that Tyler Witt should be able to host this podcast again, and I will let him host this podcast again if he gives me this 9th point. But also, I think that this podcast through the course of the football season was strenuous, and we did, I think, cover the season in a great way. But also, when you're going through and doing a lot of the same episodes over and over again, a change of pace is a great way to do it. I expected the punishment episode to be something completely different, and I was very, very surprised by what we got today. I loved this format. I think that it's super smart moving forward and something that we are going to use again, and Tyler Witt is going to come up with every fucking topic again. And again, he can do it again if he gives me this 9th point.
Do you yield?
I yield.
Okay,
Oh, wait, hold on. Jack, your hat is stupid. I yield.
Oh, come on now. That's a cheap shot. All right, don't start the time
Stupid
yet. I have a couple
chaparral.
questions first.
Yes.
Tyler, are we friends?
Yes, we're I did this.
I could go pretty harsh, but I don't want to be like.
I
personal.
more
It's
so-
it's the game, right? You'll forgive me.
I
for the
more
things I
so
say?
wanted to see this person say why I shouldn't host again.
And you won't
Just to
forgive me
see.
for what I say, right?
Yes, this is strictly for entertainment purposes.
Okay. Because I don't have a lot of avenues to explore here.
I'm gonna go after my integrity as a. Go ahead, Jack. Whenever you're ready, I'll start the clock.
All right, this isn't going to be like paragraph style. This is going to be lift style, right? We're already overtime. You one-tricked this show, right? You made one topic. You did a bunch of things. We're just doing it over and over again. You have almost said nothing this entire episode on the episode you're hosting. You just deferred to us to talk the entire time, okay? If you're going to get creative with an episode, get creative. We talked about takes that we had no prep time for. Watch First Take and tell me that Max and Stephen A don't know what they're going to talk about, because they have to know what they're going to talk about, because they want people to stay tuned in. So if anybody's made it to this point, just know that this was a pile of sticks shambled together. We're trying to rub them back and forth. And Ryan and I ended up coming in with a lighter and actually just turning the fire on. Yield. Also, sorry.
No, that was an incredible display.
I would argue though, as a producer myself, like it's literally on my W2, that as a producer, part of his job is just providing the kindling and logs and things for everybody else on the show to make fire with. And that is exactly what he did today. He came in and he got the finest newspaper and the finest wood shavings from his backyard and set us up for a great fire that's not only going to keep us warm for months to come, but it's also innovative and it brought new life to our podcast. And that is something that I appreciate, respect, and want more of. And Jack, maybe if you were as good as Tyler, you would do something similar, but you haven't. All you did is sit here and bring a lighter to campfire fight.
Wait, that's the thing that I already said.
You brought fire to the campfire fight.
You brought a lighter to a campfire fight.
All
Now,
right.
as you try to rebut that, I'm going to pick my beard.
Yeah, let me peel back the curtains. We have a Google Doc that we all can look at that tells us what we're going to talk about. Sure, bring the newspaper, bring the kindling, but put it somewhere that we at least have access to, right? Like, give me something to work off of, okay? Because we also are a canned show. Whereas, Ryan, you work largely live during your on-air stints. I'm sure you guys have some canned or pre-prepared content. Same with TV shows where they have some things that are ready to go. We do all of this in advance. So if we decided right now that this episode sucked, we could try and pick a different day and just record a different thing and never let it see the light, right? Because we have minimal amount of effort that can go in.
Keep going.
And we somehow went below that. You want me to keep going? You want me to keep going? You want to talk about how I couldn't host an episode like this? All I have to do is put punishment episode at the bottom and come up with 9 topics for 2 people to discuss for 5 minutes at a time. And then I could just sit back like this and have a sip on a tropical drink. I would love to see Tyler host another episode, but I would hope that the format is drastically different because we're over 90 minutes. We haven't done a single thing that we normally do, and we're making stuff up on the fly.
Yes, we did. We talked about the best part of our week.
But we didn't even put the thing up that says to everyone that it's the best part of our week, which we have. There we go. All right. No, actually, could you fast forward that ticker? I would like to hang a banner. Can you pull that one up for me? I don't know that everyone's got one prepared. And I did have one prepared, but I'm saving it for next week because I would like to hang a fallen banner. We talked about our show lasting longer than some NFL quarterbacks. I would like to hang a banner for the first and last iteration of this Tyler punishment episode. It was fun while it lasted, but we're never going to see it again. So among the fallen banners, it's Tyler's punishment episode. We'll see Tyler again, but we'll see different formats. Hopefully,
I would like to do a fallen banner too, because for as much fucking bear talk.
Wait, I also forgot to say sorry again.
As much bear talk as this guy does on this fucking podcast, there was not a single bear related topic.
The Arlington Bears?
No. That one, he didn't even say Bears. He just said this will be good for Chicago, I'm pretty sure. I ended up bringing it back to Bears. But we didn't even have like the who would win in a fight, gorilla or grizzly bear conversation. Like you made these topics.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would still love to see it again. And you can ask that question next time when you host another punishment episode.
Wow.
And you can, again, host another episode if you want, if you give me the 9th point.
All right. I'm going to make one last plead to the judge. Are you familiar with like diving, gymnastics, the way those are scored?
No, I'm not. I'm not really.
Okay, so the way those work is not only are you judged based on your performance and what you actually did, but you're also judged based on degree of difficulty.
We don't need to hear him.
Did you?
All I'm saying is I had a harder task, and so
This is not me, by the way. I just
I know it's not. Yeah, this is Ryan Sartori. And
I might be hosting, but I still own the StreamYard.
This is what most professional sports leagues would call tampering.
No, it's just you had bad Wi-Fi connection.
No,
must be it.
Jack. I 100% agree. You ripped it apart, and
Don't you fucking dare.
I didn't want to.
Wow. Like,
He shit on you.
nice. He shit on me. You know that meme? It's like, get shit on.
You got shat upon.
I don't know.
That's what he did. But
Shit on, bitch.
but I do want to say I had my own document that I pulled up. I agree I didn't share it with you, but I thought it would be the surprise. Yeah, I have nothing else to say.
Well, you
I
have
think
to give a
Ryan.
point to say that.
Yeah, I think Ryan gets the point.
Oh.
What you did, Jack, was impressive. Was very impressive, but yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
All right, I would like to clarify my point. No, I think I like the energy this show had, and I like the topics we did. But I do think an evolution on the stuff would be helpful.
No,
So
yeah.
I think Tyler, definitely, I look forward to the next episode that you host.
It will definitely have a better iteration of stop changing the banner. I think it'll definitely have a better iteration. I agree with what you said about me not really taking a part of the episode. I think going forward there should be
We want to hear you.
more of everyone.
Yeah.
So figuring out a way to do that will be the next chapter for the punishment episode. But that was our show. We are over time by about 10 minutes, but that's okay. I think we had fun.
We have a set time. I'm just learning that we have a set time.
I mean, Jack
realistically,
was so pressed about us being over time.
Realistically, I love what we do. I love our podcast. I love how we just go until we're done. We just completely unload. Realistically, I want this thing to be an hour long, but like we're at an hour and 40. So fuck it,
what we did? What was the there was a week, Tyler, you weren't here, and at the end Ryan and I were done, and I felt like there was still time on the clock, and so I'm like, mention something, like you have to have something else to say, right? We probably should have just ended it there, but like this show just goes longer than whatever the expectation is, whether that's good or bad.
Fuck it, because at the end of the day, who cares? And the internet is infinite.
It is.
And Jack
with
is a
that-
loser.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I also have an announcement to make, guys. So I'm actually probably not available to podcast for like the next 6 to 8 weeks, until this banner at the bottom gets fixed, just like a coincidental sort of thing. Oh, I could take that. I support my friends.
Anyway, this was the punishment episode of Hangin' Banners. That was the take debate. Hopefully we see it again soon. Hopefully I can partake. Only time will tell. That's Ryan Sartori. That's Jack Coachman. I'm Tyler Witt, and this is Hangin' Banners podcast. We will catch you later. Peace.
Okay, great. Thanks a lot for that look into sports, Brian. Yeah. And when we come back, we'll have one final look at weather. Stay tuned.